people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past. Honor those who have suffered for justice and freedom in our land. Honor those who have worked hard to build and to develop our country. And so yes, we acknowledge that we need to commit, to belong without a doubt, to stand for, to stand against, to understand that this land needs more hands to till it, to know that some townships are malnourished of dreams, some school grounds will bleed of youthful oxygen, lest we commit to our soil. Hashtag I am staying. No one will love this country better than they who belong to it. Committing to a cause bigger than self, understanding that true leadership is not only for the elite, nor the elected. It has no emblem. It has compassion and a voice. Its ability is impartial. Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King needed no prefix or suffix to their names, yet they served. And today, they are iconic citizens. So serve. Serve without intention and no strings attached. I promise you, history will be attached to you. Leading selflessly is to love without intention to receive praise. So yes, be a good Samaritan, devoting time, resources, and affection, expecting no refund. Be bothered by streets with more waste than honor. Be human and being with humility. I said, be human and being with humility. Extend thyself. Bathi, ukuzala, ukuzelula. Mina ngithi, ukubumbana, ukuzelula. As we unite, we extend ourselves across generations, alleviating and relieving each other's burdens. So yes, let us commit. Let us belong without a doubt. Let us stand. Let us stand for. Let us stand against. Let us understand that we need to be devoted citizens.
Good evening, viewers at home. My name is Sibo Dube. I'd like to welcome you to the official launch of the Devoted Citizen Movement. Today in our studios, I have the founder of Devoted Citizen Movement, Reverend Chris Mathebula. Rev, welcome.
Thank you, Sibu.
Today is Human Rights Day, and it's a very significant day in the South African calendar. And what a day you have chosen for you to launch this movement.
Yeah, I think this is what we have been looking for. We have been praying for this, and I'm so glad that finally this day has arrived, and I'm looking forward to have a wonderful discussion with the viewers at home.
Absolutely. Maybe let's start here. This is where the journey began.
Yeah.
Last year, June 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, you released a book titled Devoted Citizen. What inspired this book, and what is the thinking behind the book?
You know, over the years, since 1994 when we got our independence, I picked up something with our citizens that as much as the country was handed over to us, or to give us the freedom, but I realized that we received a freedom without knowing the responsibilities as citizens. Here we are, we have the freedom, but we don't know the responsibility that comes with the freedom. I mean, after we took the country, a lot of things did not improve. Actually, a lot of things had to go down because we were not responsible, we were not caring enough for the infrastructure, we were not even treating one another in a proper way. So I realized that there's a lot of work in the area of training the citizens to become responsible citizens.
And having read the book, the 21 chapters really encapsulate exactly what you're talking about, the fact that with freedom comes a responsibility.
Yeah.
Can you just unpack that part of your chapter? I know there's a chapter that focuses on that.
First of all, one of the chapter talks about devoted citizens. They love their country. They become patriot of their country. I'm talking about devoted citizens. They honor the laws of the country.
Yes.
They vote responsibly. They don't litter. They invest in the country. I mean, they pay taxes. Those are the things that a devoted citizens actually must do. And those are the things that when we got our freedom, nobody told us that now you must clean the streets, you must never litter, you know. And people, they still act as if it is not their country, it is something that belongs to other people. You look at the way we drive, we don't even honor the laws of the road. You know, when the traffic light, it is red, it simply says stop. But people, they don't know that. So in this book, we thought we needed to teach, you know, the citizens to take those basic responsibility, because building a country, it is when you honor those basic laws, and that is how you build a strong country.
Beautiful. I mean, fast forward, it's now 2021, and you decided you want to officially launch a movement, the Devoted Citizen Movement. Can you just tell us a little bit more about the vision, the thinking behind this movement?
Obviously, when we saw people responding the way they've responded in the area of a book, to say, you know what, I want to teach these principles to my children. I want to teach this principle to my neighbors. And we saw a need to say, you know what, it must not just become a book, it must just become a movement. A movement, it is something that you take it from one level to the other, you know, to also to the next generation. So we thought it would be a beautiful thing if we can teach the citizens of the country, you know, beginning with the primary schools, you know, young children and teenagers, high schools. So we decided we're gonna take this thing and then into the area where it becomes a movement, where we're gonna influence all the South Africans to take responsibility and to build a successful country for the sake of the next generation.
And you know, my understanding of a movement is that when a movement comes into play, they are there to transform something fundamentally. And I would like to find out from you, what gaps have you identified in South Africa where somebody who wants to be a part of this movement can actually fill? Where are the gaps and the opportunities you see the DCM coming in and filling in?
Well, there are a lot of gaps, Sibu. There are a lot of gaps in this area. I mean, you'd realize that we are living in the country where we have a serious shortage of leadership. You know, we have a serious shortage of mentors. You know, we don't have role models. You know, that is the problem that we have in this country. Most of the time, you only hear about corruption. And then it's like everybody now, that when you ask people, you know, what is it that you want to become? You find somebody says, I want to be a politician, because they've picked up a space of becoming rich quickly. But we say, here is a movement, we can mentor people. And not only that, I mean, what we do, we identify great leaders in the country. And you know what we do? We give them a certificate and we put them in public to say, here is the Devoted Citizen of the Year. You know, a young person who is modeling an excellent life. You know what we do? We say, here is the Devoted Citizen of the Month. Whoever is doing a great thing in the country, so that we can motivate citizens to become devoted citizens, so that they can influence other generations, so that they can do the same. And it doesn't matter, you know, which spheres of life. It can be in the sports, it can be in politics, can be in business, it can be in education, can be in science, art and culture. When we see somebody doing a great thing, we come along as a movement and then we encourage them to say, you are a devoted citizen. So there's a serious gap in that area.
You know, one of the quotes that actually struck me in this book was when you mentioned a quote that says, a politician thinks about the next election, but a leader thinks about the next generation. I quite like the fact that you talked about role modeling. And today, being Human Rights Day, we lack role models to role model the fact that, you know, gender-based violence is something that shouldn't be done. Corruption, for example, you know, is something that should not be part of our narrative. How do you see the DCM movement getting into that space of social injustice and the space of corruption? How are you going to transform things?
Definitely. Our motto here, Sibu, is that devoted citizen, it is the voice for the citizens. You know, that is our motto. Not just a voice for the citizen, but a voice to the citizens. What we are saying to the citizens, if we are doing wrong, we actually gonna come and confront you, because we are not just doing things for ourselves, it's for the next generation. But at the same time, we have become a voice for the citizens, because there are many citizens, you know, who are going through a lot of pain. Some of them, they cannot stand stand in the court and present themselves or present their case. This is where we come in as devoted citizens. We get a best lawyer, for those people to say, be a representative for this person who cannot defend themselves. So we come in, we defend those citizens who can't stand there by themselves. We give a support to the community, to the country, so that everybody can get the justice that they deserve. That is what we do as devoted citizens. Remember, it is not just about us. We are thinking about the next generation. That is why we also call upon all the citizens that when you vote, don't just think about today. Think about the next generation, because it is not just a mark that you make on that block, but you are actually changing the lives of the next generation. So our focus, it is in that area where we develop as citizens so that they can take a responsibility and shape the future of this country for the benefit of the next generation.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about voting. That is a very, very critical point in actually defining democracy in any society. How can voters hold the people they vote into power into account? How can they hold them accountable?
I'm actually excited, especially with this new law that introduces the independent candidates. So it begins by one becoming a devoted citizen before you can hold someone accountable. If you can put someone who is devoted in the position, it will be very, very simple to hold those people accountable. But the problem that we had over the years, we have allowed people who have never won any battle in their backyard. And then they don't have anything that they can present to the people to go into the public space. They've never conquered anything, they've never proven themselves, and here they are up there, and now you want to hold them accountable. It becomes difficult. How do you hold people accountable? You need to train right people to be in those high positions, which is what we are doing as devoted citizens. We are developing devoted citizens who are going to represent us in an excellent way, in an excellent manner, so that even if they fail right there in public, we are able to remind them that these are the principles and the qualities of a devoted citizen. What is it that you are doing now? Because you said you're going to stand for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. So you are not doing that. Now we are recalling those people as well. But the beauty is that now we have independent candidates, and devoted citizen will come along and make sure that we train even the independent candidate to be devoted citizen and change this country for the better.
And I know, amongst those principles, you refer to things like leadership, heart of servanthood, integrity, a community builder. And when you look at the narrative of most African countries, you find that that bit about being a community builder seems to lack. Why I say that? Sometimes resources are not accounted for. We're the richest continent in the world. But look at the poverty that we're faced with.
You know what breaks my heart? I actually discovered that there is 2 types of leaders in this country. It's the first type of leaders is the life givers. That is the first group of leaders. And you've got those that I call life takers. And over the years, we have produced life takers leaders. When they get into power, they think about themselves. They think about their stomach. They don't think about the next generation. So the purpose of Devoted Citizen Movement, we want to produce life-giving leaders, people who are going to think about the next generation, people who are going to think about tomorrow, that when they are in that position, they are not there for themselves, but they are there for the people and for the next generation. It is a painful thing that when you look at Africa, almost everywhere in Africa, when there's a leader, the leader does not make the country better. With all the resources that we have, it is actually a shame and a painful thing for an African child to go to bed without a meal. Yet we have all the minerals and all the riches. Once again, our leaders have failed us, but it is time for us now to raise proper leaders who are going to take those positions and develop, great leaders who are going to change this continent for the better.
And listening to you speak now, I think I'll ask you the $1 million question. Is DCM a political party?
Let me be honest with you. DCM, it is not a political party. We are a movement. We are a group of people, a group of citizens who are concerned about the state of the country. You know, that is why even at this present moment, we are prepared to work with everybody. You know, if the ruling party, even right now, if they want us to come and train their people to become devoted citizens, we're going to do that with a smile, because we see beyond the political party. It doesn't matter who comes to us, you know, and then to ask us to do this. We're going to work with everybody, because our interest, it is the success and the well-being of South Africans and this country.
And so what can South Africans look forward to? What are some of the activities or things that we can look forward to from the DCM?
Maybe my appeal to the nation out there, I want to say to all of you who are at home disappointed by the state of our country, the leadership, and then whatever is happening, it is never too late, you know, to change your environment. You can begin right now, and you can begin by becoming a member of Devoted Citizen. Let us build this country together with you. The days of us taking a back seat and thinking that someone else is going to fix my problem and is going to fix my country, those days are over. You know, for the success of this country, or for this country to be successful, it depends on you. You need to bring your skills, you need to bring your influence, your contribution. You need to start wherever you are and make a difference. But we are giving you an opportunity to become a part of this movement where we can change this nation for the better.
And if someone is watching at home and they want to be a part of this, how do they go about it?
Well, we've got our website that is available, and then right now, and then it will reflect on the screen. You can give us a call. It doesn't matter. You are white, black, yellow. We accept all South Africans, because we strongly believe that we are better and stronger together. You know, if we can join hands and make sure we build this country, I strongly believe that South Africa has a brighter future, especially because you are a part of it.
Thank you so much for this enlightening discussion, and I think it's clearer now for many people what you aim to do, and hopefully we will see more from DCM.
Watch the space, and thank you for watching. We're looking forward to partner with you and change this country for the better.
Wow, thank you, Reverend Mathebula, for that enlightening discussion, and I'm sure those of you who were wondering what DCM is all about tonight, you got the clarity. We're moving on to the next item of our program tonight, and we are going to invite our keynote speaker, Dr. John Tibane.
Good evening, devoted citizens. Good evening, soon-to-be devoted citizens. Reverend Chris Mathebula, thank you so much for giving me this honor to share a few thoughts on this day when we are launching Devoted Citizen Movement, which I truly believe that it is a movement that South Africa needs. I'm going to be answering the question, why do we need devoted citizens, and therefore, why do we need a devoted citizen movement? And I'm going to do that by demonstrating to you that for South Africa to be a winning nation, it needs to make some quantum shifts. In other words, South Africa needs to reset itself. But these quantum shifts that this nation must make requires a different kind of people. And this kind of people we are talking about are the devoted citizens. For South Africa to become a winning nation, there are many shifts that need to be made. I am going to talk about 4 of them. Because for these shifts to be a reality, we need devoted citizens in all the pillars of society, whether it is family, whether it is government, whether it is the economy, whether it is business, whether it is culture, politics, education, science, you name them. we need in every sphere of society to have devoted citizens being represented. Now, what are these 4 shifts that we need to be making? The first one is we need to shift from liberation to leadership. We need to shift from liberation to leadership. You see, liberation is good, but leadership is better. When we deal with issues of liberation, liberation frees you from, whilst leadership frees you to. So in other words, liberators help you to be free from the hand of the oppressor, whilst leaders help you to be free to enter the land of promise. So it is possible for you to be free from the land of oppression, but only to find yourself spending all your life in the desert. Liberators are important in our lives. And where we are right now as a country and as a nation, we have been liberated from the hand of the oppressor. We have been liberated from apartheid. We have been liberated from the land of oppression. But now we need to make a shift from focusing on liberation to now focus on leadership. You see, the challenge with liberation is liberators are trained and skilled to free you from the oppressor by killing the oppressor, by killing the enemy. So liberators, by design, they look for an enemy and they kill the enemy in order to free their people from the enemy. The challenge, though, is that after the enemy has been killed and destroyed, like we have destroyed apartheid, if the liberators do not mentally make a shift, a paradigm shift from being liberators to becoming leaders, what happens is they are going to continue with liberative tactics when those tactics are no longer necessary. So they will now look for an enemy. If they don't find the enemy, they will have to create an enemy because they are skilled at dealing with the enemy. And that is why many liberation movements, they tend to self-destruct. If you study history, you know that wonderful movements and organizations that were liberators and they did a great work. Once their people are liberated, they begin to self-destruct if they do not make a shift from liberation to leadership. Whether we like it or not, whoever helps you to cross the Red Sea may not necessarily be the one who helps you to cross the River Jordan. The tactics of escaping the enemy are not the same as the tactics for entering the land of promise. I am not cursing liberation and sanctifying leadership. I am saying there is a need for us to make a shift. You see, liberators, they use their intelligence to destroy an enemy, whilst leaders, they use their intelligence to spy the promised land. Leaders, they think about how are we going to have enough milk for our people? How are we going to have enough grapes for our people? How are we going to have enough honey for our people? That's what they are concerned about because they are leaders. Whilst liberators, they are also intelligent, but their intelligence is used to analyze the enemy and see how the enemy can be destroyed. And that is why there's a need for us to shift. That's the first shift. If you think about this shift, you will notice that we need a new cadre of people in our country, devoted citizens, people who have been trained to be committed to carry the burden of freedom. The second area where there is a need for us to shift, we need to shift from transactional politics to transformational politics. Transactional politics to transformational politics. Transactional politics is, in fact, a transaction. It's a give and take. There is a seller and there is a buyer. Vote for me, I will build you houses. Now that sounds good. And in fact, that's how it should be. If you vote for me, I must build you the houses. But you see, the problem is, it is just a transaction. And in a transaction, usually there is a winner and a loser, even though it's a give and take. But people can bargain. It depends on who has got more negotiation power. And the problem with transactional leadership is that the politician is, in fact, having more power than the one who is supposed to vote for them. So they can agree for less. Why? Because they've got nothing. If you don't have water, even if I just promise you a glass of water, you will take it, even though you deserve to have a drum of water. But because you don't even have a teaspoon of water, you will agree for a glass of water in exchange for the votes. That is transactional politics. And transactional politics deals with the problems of today, whilst transformational politics, it's really about the bigger picture. Transformational politics, even though they will meet your present need whilst you are still a worm. But you see, transformation is about how can this worm or this caterpillar metamorphosize or transform until it becomes a butterfly. So transformational politics makes those who are involved not to see you as you are, but to see you as you can be. And they make a commitment to helping you become that which you were born to become. That is why it's a transformation. So they are committed to your tomorrow as well. They are committed to your total well-being or total wellness. And that is why there's a need in our country to make a shift from transactional politics to transformational politics. You see, transactional people, they are the now people. And because they are the now people and they are short-sighted, they want to get everything they can get right now for themselves. Because they know that many of them are actually mediocre people. They don't even know how they got that position, and there is no guarantee that they will be leading tomorrow. So they better get everything right now. It's a transaction. But a transformational person, they know that they got into that space because they deserve to be in that space, and they have what it takes to help this person, this citizen, who may be a worm financially, a worm in many other ways, to transform until they become a butterfly. which will fly over its anxieties, fly over its depression, and fly over its lack. But you need transformational politics. If you think about this shift from transactional to transformational politics, you will agree with me that we do need a new cadre of people. We need devoted citizens, people who are committed to the long term, people who are able to carry the burden of freedom. The third area of shifting where we need to make a quantum shift is that we need to shift from cosmetic reconstruction to foundational reconstruction. There's got to be a shift from cosmetic reconstruction to foundational reconstruction. If South Africa is to be a winning nation and in fact become the better world for all, we cannot afford to just invest in making cosmetic, superficial, symptomatic changes. We need to go to the root of things and make changes at a foundational level. If you read from the book of Psalms chapter 11, verse 3, King David makes a very important statement. And he was, in fact, a politician. And he was a ruler of a nation. And he must have known what he was talking about when he makes the following statement. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? The word righteous there, it means right standing with God. But it also means right standing with that which is good. In other words, a righteous person is someone who is of a good standing. In other words, they are on the right side of what is good. This means that these are well-meaning people. And I can tell you that across South Africa, there are many people who are well-meaning. They are on the right side of the law. They are on the right side of what is good. They are principled. They are well-charactered. Even when they go to work, they really want to work. Even when they are part of an organization, they really want to make a difference. But King David asked a question. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the well-meaning people do? And the answer is they can't do anything sustainable. So these many people, committed South Africans, who vote for people because they are hoping for a better life for all, they really want to participate. But you see, if the foundations are destroyed, then they labor in vain. The challenge is that many a times, when there has been an earthquake, which means the quaking of the earth, guess what? You find that when the foundation is cracked or destroyed, the walls of the building also crack and the window panes get shattered. And yet, the earthquake does not touch the walls. That's interesting. The earthquake does not touch the walls. And yet, the walls crack. Why? Because the earthquake has touched the foundation and has messed up the foundation. And because these walls are now standing on a destroyed foundation, that's why they crack. Now, the problem is that many a times, many nations and even organizations, they spend time repairing the walls. And there's nothing wrong in repairing the walls, cosmetic changes. But those who repair the cracked walls without paying attention to the destroyed foundations, they do so in vain. Because even after you have repaired the cracked walls, a few weeks later, the walls will crack again even when there is no more earthquake. But the earthquake of yesterday, which destroyed the foundation yesterday, and you did not fix the foundation yesterday, but you fixed only the walls, these walls will crack on their own if the foundations are destroyed. What am I trying to say? South Africa needs to make a serious shift from just repainting the walls, from just making some little changes on the surface that look attractive to people, to the non-suspecting people, but actually begin to go and deal with what has been messed up at a foundational level. Issues of governance, issues of justice, issues of law, issues of character, issues of love and human dignity. Those things that are so critical, which are foundational, that we have not been paying attention to. We need to make a shift. But this shift will not make itself. It needs a new kind of people. It needs devoted citizens. And that is why this movement is critical. In fact, I like it because it is called a movement, because it is going to assist to make the shifts that South Africa actually needs. Let me share with you the last point, and there are many areas of shifting, but I will end with this one, which is the fourth one, and that is we need to make a shift from output-based planning to outcomes-based planning. In fact, you could talk of output-based government or governing to outcomes-based governing. There's a difference between an output and an outcome. An output is something we produce or something we deliver. We can put it on the table or on the floor, or we can erect it and people can come and see it. It has been done. It has been delivered. It has been produced. It is very dangerous, though, to conduct your life just based on output and end there. The shift we must make is that we need to be outcomes-based in the way we do things. So what is an outcome? An outcome is that which we want to achieve, which will have a positive impact in a specific beneficiary. What makes an outcome different from an output is that an outcome, when you deliver it, you have a beneficiary in mind. Somebody must benefit from your work, not just you, somebody. There is someone who must benefit. So let me make an example here of an output. Imagine the Department of Roads in a given province. An output would sound like this: a 2-kilometer tarred road. Yes, we are going to build a 2-kilometer tarred road. And because that's their plan, they actually go ahead and build a 2-kilometer tarred road. And after they have done that, then they call the minister or they call the MEC or very important celebrities or premier or whoever to come and cut the ribbon and then open this road. And we celebrate, well done. Only to find that the road helps nobody. Maybe the only person it helps is some chief somewhere. It moves from the doorstep of the chief to some place somewhere. But an outcome would sound like this: connecting citizens to areas of economic activity. Connecting citizens to areas of economic activity. Why? There is a higher goal. People have been excluded from economic activity. So because this Department of Roads belongs to a government that talks a lot about inclusive economy, because it is a responsible, accountable department, then it plans outcomes-based. The outcome should be to connect our villagers, to connect our citizens to areas of economic activity. If you do that, the road can still be a 2-kilometer tarred road, but the direction it is going to take and the points it is going to touch, the turns it is going to make, it's influenced by the fact that it is connecting citizens to areas of economic activity. You see the shift from output-based governing to outcomes-based governing. If we make that shift, I tell you now that many of these service delivery protests would not happen. Why? Because the citizens of the country, they will be benefiting because the citizens are the beneficiaries of government delivery, but only if we have an outcomes-based delivery, outcome-based government, and not an output-based government. This shift can only happen if in all the spheres and the pillars of society we have devoted citizens who have the ability to carry the burden of freedom. And I trust that you and me are going to support this initiative in whatever way, and there are many ways that you are still going to learn from the website on how you can be part of this. In whatever way you can participate in this, the issue is South Africa must become a winning nation. But for it to become a winning nation, we can't continue doing things the way we have been doing. We need to reset ourselves. We need to make some serious shifts. And these shifts can't make themselves. They need you and me. They need devoted citizens to make those shifts. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Tibane, for that enlightening keynote address. One thing that is striking about his message is the fact that whilst liberation is good, it is important that people move from the liberation stage to the leadership stage. I hope all of us have been challenged to become leaders in our different spheres of influence. If you would like to be a member of the Devoted Citizen Movement, there are details on the screen where you can contact the movement offices. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we wish you all a wonderful Human Rights Day. Have yourselves a good night.